Make real change. Make change real. The process is beautiful. Empower your mentality to make real change in the world. This is Coach King or Michael. I need to do a better job of that. But yeah, my name is Michael King. Okay, that's who I am. Um. So anyway, we've been talking about the D in the idea, which is the developmental piece. Um. We went through three of the developmental aspects. Okay. The first one is personal. The next one's social. After that is economic. And the next thing that we're going to be talking about is this final aspect, but not quite. This is called technological development. And the anchor scripture is Colossians 3 and 23. So go back and read Colossians. But it says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. Heart meaning your mind. Working for the Lord, the owner, not for human masters. So anything that you decide that you're going to do it with everything that you have, as if you're doing it for the creator, the owner of us, right? Okay. Because technological development is a lot of work. It's isolating at times, but there's a very deep, deep thing that we're going to discover. Okay. So if personal development is the seed, that means that social development is the garden. And that means economic development is the harvest. So what is technological development? Technological development is the bridge. It's the bridge. It's how everything is shared. This is the vessel in which potential is multiplied, where innovation becomes reality and your impact is amplified. It's exploded. Boom. Okay. Through which potential is multiplied, innovation is realized, and impact is amplified. Technology is not merely tools and devices. So I threw you off with the word technology, but technology is not just tools or investments or devices. It is the conduit. If you know what conduit is, it's the stuff that you need to start your fire, right? It's the conduit, but it's the conduit for ingenuity, for human ingenuity. Technology is the conduit for our ingenuity, our creativity, and how we progress as a civilization. Okay. It's how we take our ideas and move them into another direction. And it's how we influence, and it's how our influence reaches further than we could ever imagine. So it's the trajectory in which we go. So it's by technology that trajectory is even possible. Technological development begins with vision. We talked about that. So technological development and innovation are kind of very, very cohesive. Every breakthrough that you have starts with a thought, a spark of possibility. Think about it. What's possible? Do you even know what's possible? If you have an idea, do you believe your idea is even possible? But you got to understand something. That is vision. It starts with a thought, an idea, whatever. That's the vision. But you have to understand that vision by itself is insufficient. Just as a seed needs soil, water, and sunlight, innovation requires the right environment as well. So it's one thing to have the vision with no development, right? Without development, innovation can't do anything. So you need this level of development in order for it to come into fruition, to be real, right? If you're growing, you have to have it to be real, tangible, right? So the essence of our technological growth, to make it really real, is connection. I'm so big on that. Growth is connection. It connects knowledge to our actions, right? Individuals to systems, and ideas to the world. It allows us to scale impact in ways impossible through uh, through effort alone. So you can't just do this with just effort. I can't do that by myself without connection. Without this technological development, without the bridge, it's impossible to do. Connection is the only meaningful, and it's only meaningful when it's purposeful technology. So technological development, or the technology, the trajectory, the launching pad, the actual mechanism has to have purpose. There's a reason for it. Okay. Without purpose, everything is kind of lost, right? So technology, when it's aligned with wisdom and ethics, it becomes a tool for advancing human potential. It bridges gaps in opportunity and solves the problems that others may have. And it also solves the problems that people may have seemed as or accepted as immutable. So something that was impossible. I can't do this. Like, you solve it. Everybody heard the conspiracy about Project Willow and how the guy who developed this technology cracked the code, cracked this like encryption that was like 23 infinite digits, took forever, but it was the first supercomputer to actually crack that code and solve the equation. That's what they're talking about. Technology that advances that. Even problems that we think that we can't solve. Okay. So technological development. Okay. Growth in technology also demands courage. Okay. So you have to be brave. You got to be able to be bold. Just like the verse on the wall says, be strong, right? And courageous. It's just like when they were telling Joshua, what God told Joshua, Joshua 1:9. Go read it. Okay. So you got to have courage, but you have to have the courage to experiment, to fail, and to iterate. The road of innovation is lined with mistakes. Okay. You got to be willing to fail. You got to be willing to make a mistake, because each mistake that you make, you actually learn from it, right? But each mishap contains lessons invisible to those who never risked it at all. So if you never take that risk, you'll never learn anything, and you'll never discover what was invisible. It's all lessons. So don't be afraid to make the mistake. True progress comes when fear is subordinated to faith and persistence. True progress comes when fear is subordinated to faith and persistence. When imagination is paired with discipline and execution. Okay. True progress comes when fear is subordinated to faith and persistence. So you have to believe in something, and you have to like strive for it. Be consistent, persistent about it. Keep going. Go, 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 go. Go towards the mark. Pursue it relentlessly, right? And then when imagination is paired with discipline and execution. So a disciplined execution, that means it's very focused. It's so sharp, it can just cut with precision, right? When you have your imagination so focused like that, that's when growth, the technological growth, is just tremendous. It can solve those problems. Okay. Another piece of this is spiritual alignment, because spiritual alignment is essential in this domain. So you have to be aligned spiritually. Technology without purpose can create abundance without meaning. So you just stockpile again, right? You're putting a whole bunch of technology together, but there's no meaning behind it, and it's useless. It's malfunctions, right? Imagine having any bridges. Just imagine a world with all bridges and no roads. Why are we building so many bridges? There's not even water below it. What are we doing? Okay. So you have all of these bridges, you have all of these connections, and they're connected to each other, but they're not connected to anything that has meaning. There's nothing that is moving in a direction or goal that is precise. So you just get connectivity without compassion. So you got all these connections, but no one cares. And you have power without justice. That means anything that it's able to do something, but not for any causes. That's like going into the courtroom and the judge is like, I don't know. But dude, you got the decision to make, am I guilty or not? And he just sits there and goes, I don't know. There's no justice in that. I don't know. He sits there indifferent. When guided by values and rooted in service, technological development becomes a sacred extension of human stewardship. It's an engine through which creativity, entrepreneurship, and the social good for the community converge. I'll say that again. When guided by your values. That's why spiritual alignment, that means you're aligned with God. God, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all of these things shall be added unto you. Right? Those things, clothes, whatever. However, when you seek heaven, his righteousness creates the value that you have, right? You read it's a lifestyle, right? When you are spiritual aligned with God, God brings the kingdom into your life and creates that value. Do you have the kingdom values and principles over your life, right? And when they're rooted in that service, which is your ministry, the technological development becomes a sacred extension of your management. It's the engine. It's what drives your creativity, your entrepreneurship, and how you talk to people, your communication. But it's the social good, though. It's social good, which means societal good. That means I'm trying to make or for other words, positive impact on everyone around me. I want to make people better. But if I don't have values guided in spiritual alignment, rooted in my ministry, I can't do any of that. I don't have a mechanism, a power source, an engine. I can't even move the vehicle without that. So consider every innovation, the apps that connect us, the platforms that empower us, the solutions that solve pressing challenges. Think about all the innovation that you've seen in this last, 5 years since COVID? Think about everything and how our lives have changed dramatically. We DoorDash. Think about it. Instacart. Society has innovated itself. All of the apps that were created during COVID. There was a technological advancement in society that was rooted in our social values, right? Imagine if you aligned your social values with that of God. If you have a spiritual alignment with the Creator, what makes you think that these innovations would not have value on earth, would not have value for your customer? Think about it. All of the platforms, all this podcast. Look at me. I done added a podcast to my repertoire. Look at you. You probably added a podcast to your repertoire thinking about it. You got something that you want to say. We all have a voice and we all want to voice our opinion, right? And so we've created platforms. Our social media platforms especially have taken a whole nother change. Social media is turned into an ad agency. Facebook's an ad agency. Sorry, Facebook. But think about it. LinkedIn is a showcase of your professional experience. What are you learning as a professional? How can you improve other industries with your professional knowledge base? They've taken it to another level, right? Twitter. I ain't gonna go to Twitter. I ain't even on Twitter like that. Instagram. A picture is worth 1,000 words. A video and a reel is too, right? But you can really, they've turned that into instructions, right? 30-second bites of power. Some good, some atrocious, some bad. But if it's powerful and is rooted in value, which people take these clips of these sermons, people take these clips of moments that celebrities are having that are terrible. People take moments of these podcasts. Shoot, I take 30 seconds, sometimes a minute clips of my long form videos just to make sure that my voice and my values are being portrayed correctly on my social media page, because now this thing is called social branding. Brand, what's your brand? So now we branded ourselves with this stuff, right? And we've called this innovation. It was weird because in 2010, I had a lady come to me and ask us, what is your brand? She's talked about branding in 2010, 2009, actually. In 09, there was social media was just getting started. Facebook was just getting started, and they had already talked about branding yourself as the future wave. Now it's here. All you have is your brand. Teachers getting fired for twerking on Instagram. Wild. Anything that you post, if I posted anything with my employer on it and they don't align with their organizational values, I can be up out of there quick. So you got to understand how powerful these technological development is, because it bridges and connects each one of us to the fruit that we bear. My fruit right now is the idea of change. I'm trying to give you some nuggets about change, the aspects of change, how the idea impacts your life. And these nuggets, this is the fruit of which what I'm studying. This is what my work has been. And so if I can use my voice right now and the values that I have that's rooted in biblical principle to get that to a person so that they can change their lives or help them be successful when change erupts in their lives, because it's going to happen. You're going to deal with uncertainty. You're going to be dealing with aspects of it. And ultimately is to transform yourself into the person that you want to become, or you need to become, in order to hit that next level in your life as a leader, as a husband, as a wife, as a son or daughter, as an athlete. Whatever it is, change is going to come. And you're going to feel some resistance. You're going to feel any of those aspects, those 7 of them. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch. I had to do a deep dive on all 7 aspects of change and how they impact us. The biggest one is uncertainty, but uncertainty is battled with faith. There is a change aspect that we all have to and must do first, and that's called adapt or pivot. So when change hits you, you adapt to it. You pivot, you move. You got to do something, because if you sit there, you'll get stuck and resistance will run you over. The resistance that your intentions will get lost. You'll lose the faith. You'll lose your momentum every time. And so it's so important that we understand this concept. But most importantly, my point is, without getting on a tangent like I just did, is that your technological development is how your information is shared and what channel it is shared on and how it connects and the emotional resonance it has with the person viewing it. Okay? Keep that in mind. So technological development is inherently transformative. Okay? It changes old paradigms, so the way you're thinking, and it disrupts your complacency in life. For being stuck, that's what I was just talking about. And it redefines what is possible for you. Remember, technological advancement can inspire. If you click on your LinkedIn, or you clicked in on your Instagram, or you go to learn about Instagram itself, it talks about inspo. How do you get inspiration to post? What is it that they're actually looking for? What is it that these platforms are looking for? Go do some studies. Because what happens is when you actually look at that, you redefine what's possible for yourself. It takes some self-discovery and a little bit of work and some reading, but your complacency stops because now you understand the platform and what's required in that platform, right? You know, but here's the thing about transformation. It requires intention. If you're not intentionally doing that, you ain't going to transform. You ain't going to transform nothing. You're not going to move from one old mindset to a new mindset. You're going to stay right where you are, yearning to be transformed, looking and listening to me, but never doing anything about it. So we must ensure that we create not only advances, but also progress that uplifts humanity. It also has to align with truth and reflect the wisdom we seek to embody in all spheres of life. That's the content that you make. So make sure your content that you create advances and progresses, but uplifts humanity. Okay. Make sure it aligns with truthfulness because people are really banking on you, especially if you have a huge following. God forbid I blow up and have 1 million followers. God forbid that. That'd be kind of cool. But at the same time, if that happens, the responsibility, I need to make sure that I'm wording my stuff in truths, universal truths. That's why I try to use the Bible as best as I can, because I know that I see that as truth. And anybody who follows me, probably a believer, right? Probably a man, right? I want to make sure that what I put out there is true. And I want to make sure that it reflects wisdom, which is what I've already applied. I'm not going to give you anything that I haven't applied yet. I'm not going to talk about any experience that I don't. I can have knowledge. Without knowledge, without application is foolishness. I'll just be sitting here talking foolishness on my own platform. And you be like, man, that dude's a fool. He don't know what he's talking about. Fool. I pity the fool. You be sitting there, oh, Mr. T. Pity the fool, right? Y'all be Mr. T and me all day in my comments. All two of you. Okay? But you have to embody all spheres of life. That's why I say whatever it is that you believe. I don't want to just limit this leadership thing. Leadership is such a broad thing. We lead even when we don't have a title or position. You're leading someone or something. You're leading. If not, you're just leading yourself. You're leading your children, lead your kids, leading all types of people, right? You're leading your spouse. If you're married, you're leading your church group. If you're a lead singer, you're leading the choir. Whatever, you're leading something. If you're driving, think about it. You're leading. Okay, so leadership is in everything and in all aspects of our lives. So all spheres, but the values, the rights, making sure that you have wisdom. So anything that I learned and I've applied and I've seen the fruit of it, that's what I'm sharing. I'm not going to share anything that's not wise, that I haven't applied. If I don't know, I don't know. But I'm not going to tell you that I know it, that I've seen it, because it's unwise of me to do so. And it's not truthful, right? It doesn't align with that. And therefore, it doesn't uplift the humanity in you or humanity that's listening. Anybody who views this needs to be able to see and be uplifted to embody this content, or embody their own content for that matter. So growth in this dimension is exponential. So when you start talking about technological development, technology advances so fast. Like I said, the last 5 years, look how far we've come. So if you go back to 2020 to now, even 2019 to now, technology has gone bonkers. Okay. So everything technological, if we're talking about, building connections and connecting with people, everything becomes faster, more efficient. These processes get better. They lean out. So the growth there is exponential. You know why? Because knowledge compounds in an information age where you can get things faster. That is what OpenAI is doing. It compounds knowledge and faster and faster and faster using all the networks. It expands and it impacts everybody. And once everyone got hooked on it, now the impact multiplies because now I'm sitting there like, dude, this is super productive. So the only thing we have to be careful though is when exponential growth becomes responsibility. The responsibility is to steward the resources. Okay. Guide our influence. Okay. So be careful to make sure that you're doing these things with intention because the responsibility of it is heavy. The implications are heavy. You heard about Instagram models getting sued for false advertisement. She had no idea what she was putting out there. And it was causing damage to her followers. So she was getting sued, lawsuits for that. So growth in this dimension is exponential because knowledge compounds, networks expand, and impact multiplies. But the exponential growth comes with responsibility, the responsibility to steward your resources. So make sure you're managing everything that you have. Guide your influence. So the successes in your life, guide it. Guide the influence and preserve ethical integrity. When your ethics are shot, your character is shot, and therefore your platform is bogus. So your brand suffers because of this. The leader who masters technological development understands that their work is not only about creating something, but it's about accountability, sustainability, and a lasting contribution to the whole thing. Because think about it. I've received a harvest. Now I'm sharing it, but I need the connection to share it with. So my credibility, my credibility is on the line if I give you something that's trash. If I give you something that's half put. Now I'm okay making mistakes now. That's why the accountability piece has to be there. Sorry, I'm owning it. I'll make it right. Right? I'm in this to win this. Right? The lasting contribution. Hey, man, I'm accountable for my own self, what I'm bringing to the table right now. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to come to you man to man to woman, and I'm going to tell you, hey, I made a mistake. This is what I see, and this is how I'm going to correct this. So we got to understand the lasting contribution in this thing. So when you've developed, you've grown, you've received your harvest, and now you're sharing it and you're making connections, make sure that the fruit that you bear is not rotten. Make sure that the product truly represents what you're trying to get across, the intention that you have. Please make sure your product matches the intention that you had when you created it, or when it bore on you, when the fruit came off the tree. Make sure that it's what you need. For example, I'm writing these books, right? And every time I submit a revision, I get the hard copy and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. I got to make another revision, right? Because I don't want to give you crap, because it's my brand. It's my legacy. Everything is on it. I know it's probably not going to be perfect. There's going to be something you can find, right? There's some flaw that you're going to go in there and pick it apart. However, I want to make sure that what I do give you is real. And it really, really exemplifies the message that I'm trying to deliver to you. So in the continuum of development, technology is the bridge from potential to legacy. Personal growth equips the individual. Social growth expands our community, right? Now we have a community. Economic growth builds the infrastructure, because economics is the wealth. That is the harvesting, right? When we harvest it all, now we can have feasts. When we have feasts, people are happy. Now the infrastructure is there, but the technological growth accelerates your influence and extends the reach of your vision, the efficacy of leadership, and the impact of change. Okay. So these are these four complexities within development that you can see when you look at them. It may be confusing now, but during your developmental period, some of the pain that you experience is because these are the expectations that we have when we are developing, right? These are the things that you are becoming. These are the expectations. This is the ground foundational information of what the expectations are during this developmental period of things that we can evaluate you on, right? This is how you're evaluated. Your growth is evaluated this way. Okay. So together, these forms of development, personal, social, economic, and technological, form a complete architecture of growth. So we're building a building. You need all four of these things in your growth. You'll see them. Each layer builds upon the last, interdependent and aligned. It creates a method in which the idea of change can flourish, grow. So, in essence, growth is a process of intentional creation. It's the cultivation of self, personal, community, social, resources, economic, and innovation, which is technological. Okay. And all four of them are rooted in wisdom, nurtured by diligence, and guided by faith. All right. So thank you guys for listening. I'm going to pivot off of this. Right now, I'm just giving you the ID of idea. The E and the A, you'll have to purchase the book to get. Okay. I'm planning on doing a link to my book soon. I don't know exactly when. I'm just waiting on a few things. But once the book launches, you can read all about education and administration. But I'm going to start talking more about this idea of becoming, the art of becoming. So more on that. I think I'm going to go into revitalizing this podcast, my YouTube channel. These are some forward-thinking things. Don't hold me accountable, or don't. It's fine. But in anyway, I just wanted to say thank you guys for just 2025. I've been doing this since 2024, 2024. So it's been 2 years. 45 subscribers. I've doubled. I've actually matched the number of subscribers each year, which is about 23 subscribers each year. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been listening to me over the 2 years. I'm going into year number 3, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm hoping that I can, just be consistent with this. This is just a platform that I've created for myself to express. Not often do I get a chance to express often. Working night shift, spending time being a father, other interests in my life, things like that. It's rare that I get an opportunity to actually talk and speak. I often spend a lot of time listening to other people and just kind of getting knowledge all the time. So I created this so that my voice actually has a voice and I can go back and listen to it. But I ultimately created it as a legacy piece for my son, for my children, if I decide to have more kids, as a opportunity for them to see what grandpa, dad, how he was when he was youthful during his career, What did he stand up for? What was his values? What is he trying to teach me? What did dad struggle with? Dad struggled with change, son. Because dad struggled with change, dad thought that it made sense for dad to study it so he had a better understanding. And once dad started to understand it, I can apply some of these principles to it. Dad gets some wisdom about change. And therefore, dad starts to speak about it. Yes, I'm using myself in third person as dad. Because, if my kids and my grandkids decide to listen to this, they can have an understanding if something were to happen to me of how I was. How did I move? What did my voice sound like? So this is important for me. And I encourage everybody to do that for themselves. My son said, well, so what if YouTube bans your channel? I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope not. I'll have to do backups so that he can access these videos. But anyway, it's Michael King. Make real change. Make change real. The process is beautiful. Empowering mentality to make real change in the world. Peace out.